My hair is terrible, that's news to nobody. So today I'm wearing a hat. Deal with it. Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, two characters that define and embody all that is gaming. They've stood the test of time from their conception to even now, with Nintendo and Sega both pumping out games year after year with these beloved characters.
In all the years these two characters have been around, people have wanted nothing more than for them to star in a game together. I mean, just think of the possibilities. Take tried and true concepts like the Paper Mario games.
The first two anyway. Come on Color Splash, what are you doing?
Or even games like Sonic Generations, taking two gameplay styles and combining them in some fashion.
Literally endless possibilities when it comes to combining these two games for one big grand collab. And you know what I'm doing? I'm leading up to one of the most confusing and oddly conceived games ever. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Just why?
You have the two biggest characters in gaming, each character originating from their own platforming game series with their own unique character traits, side characters and power-ups, and the first game they properly appear in is essentially a giant marketing tool for the Olympics. The way this game even came to be was total happenstance. Sega gained the rights to produce games for the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games, and a year or so prior there were some murmurs of a potential Mario and Sonic crossover happening. The only problem was that those who were in talks had no idea how they would go about creating a game that had both Mario and Sonic. And it's this kind of selective dissonance with game developers which really gets on my nerves. They're creative when they want to be, but when asked a simple question or posed with a problem that has all the pieces laid out for them, all these characters, enemies and power-ups and worlds at your disposal, and suddenly you just can't think of anything? The logical conclusion? Throw the Olympic Games license at it and make a party game. Because, you know, the Wii didn't have enough of those already. Mario and Sonic's gameplay consists of a selection of Olympic games from the 100-meter dash to table tennis, each with their own set of controls, so let's take a look at some of the games just to give you an idea of what this game has to offer. Before jumping into any circuits or single events, you have to choose a character to play as, the characters being from both Mario and Sonic and falling into around 4 character types, these being Power Type, All Around, yes, that's all around, not all round, but whatever, Speed Type and Skill Type, obviously signifying what the characters are best at. But not all characters of any selected type are the same. Two characters who are of the same type will have their own individual stats, so one power type might be faster than another, and so on and so forth. Not that it matters when it comes to the first circuits, which are beginner level. Watch me play as Bowser, who is a power type, coming in first in the 100-meter dash.
You hear that, boy? You're both powerful and fast.
The 100-meter dash is the quintessential Olympic event, and chances are it's the event anybody trying this game out will play first. You can play all the events with just a Wiimote, but some can be played with both the Wiimote and Nunchuck. The Nunchuck just serving to make things a bit easier, as you'll come to see. The 100-meter dash starts as soon as the characters ready themselves in the starting blocks. You hold the B button, which charges energy, which can give you a boost when the gun fires, and you then have to frantically shake the Wiimote and Nunchuck as though you were running. These kinds of actions can certainly feel like a mini workout. The triple jump and long jump start very similarly to the 100-meter dash, just minus the holding B to charge energy part. So you shake the Wiimote and Nunchuck like crazy to build speed, and after you pass a certain area, your speed is locked. You then have to wait until you're close enough to the line at the end and thrust the Wiimote up to jump. You do this 3 times in a row for the triple jump. Easy enough, but it has this odd stipulation of possibly overshooting it, causing the jump to be bad, which can be pretty frustrating because you really don't have any frame of reference as to what constitutes a bad jump. It's really just down to luck.
That's one annoyance with motion controls. They give you so little in return it can be difficult to figure out what movement is too weak and what's too strong. Then again, it could just be me. Maybe I don't know my own strength. Maybe not.
Hammer throw is pretty simple and only requires the Wiimote itself. Hold the A button and start moving the Wiimote in a circle motion as though you're cranking something above your head. And then when you think you're ready, hit the B button to let the hammer fly.
Ah, shit. That's it. Clear, we're moving.
Trampoline is one of the games I actually kind of enjoy because it's not too annoying with the motion controls and can sometimes be entertaining to watch. The gist of this one is that you're supposed to move the Wiimote up when you hit the trampoline to jump higher and higher, and once you reach a certain height you'll be given a set amount of commands to input before you hit the trampoline again. Essentially this just turns into one big QuickTime event, but it's worth it just to see Dr. Eggman being so athletic. Not too surprising though, some say he can even outrun Sonic. Table tennis, or ping pong as it's otherwise known. First thing I want to say about this game is It's so damn slow. But first, let's get controls out of the way before I complain too much. You start by serving the ball by moving the Wiimote upwards as though you're just tossing the ball up in the air. And then swing like you would a normal tennis racket to hit the ball. And you can just swing to get a normal hit, or you can hold the B button then swing to get a stronger hit, which has slightly awkward timing, and hold A to do a weak but fast defensive shot. This can be used to stop an oncoming strong hit. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with the table tennis if it played as well as something like Wii Tennis, but it doesn't. Something about it just feels more sluggish and picky, and the fact that you need to get 11 points is hell. It takes so long to get 11 points. Then guess what? You have to play 2 sets, and it takes forever. And that's one of the worst things about this game. In order to get the most out of it, you need to play through the circuits to unlock all of the individual events. I wouldn't mind this, but it often feels like you're just playing the same events over and over. And as I mentioned, table tennis is the epitome of tedium, and it can feel like such a chore just trying to unlock all of the other events.
So here's the big question I'm sure you're all itching to know. Is it good?
Honestly, it depends on what you mean by good. As a general idea of using Mario and Sonic in the same game, it's a waste. Since this came out, there has, as far as I can tell, been no more talk of a Sonic and Mario crossover game. Does this fill that gap? That's what I take away from this. So from that point of view, I'd say it's bad and a waste. But let's ask, from a more general game enjoyment level, how fun is it?
It's alright. It's not terrible, but it has problems.
I mean, first of all, it's a party game. So from that, you can tell it's a pretty shallow game overall. It's essentially a bunch of mini-games, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's decently enjoyable. It is for the most part motion controlled, however, because this was still pretty early in the Wii's life, and as I've said in the past, Nintendo pushed motion controls onto a lot of games early on. You play circuits to unlock more games. There's a beginner class, advanced class, and master class, each consisting of a few games which you have to play one after the other until all are completed. Each game has its own scoring system, accompanied with extra world records and Olympic records, which you can aim to beat. In circuit mode, you win via points gained from placing in the Olympic Games you participate in. Think something like how in Mario Kart you gain points for placing high, but if you don't place first in every race, there's still a chance you could come out on top, based on how much points the other racers gain throughout the cups. It's just like that. Now, one thing you might be noticing is just how realistic all the games are. They're literally just copies of the Olympic Games. This is fine though, but it sort of clashes with the whole Mario and Sonic thing. As sure, the audience is made up of toads and flickies, all who are waving around flags representing characters from the game, but take a game like Mario Strikers Charged. It's football,
Or soccer.
but it has this twist to the look and feel of the game that gives its own unique atmosphere, what with the power-ups and weapons found throughout, and the Mega Strikes with their awesome aesthetic. It still feels different from what you'd typically expect from Mario, but it works better than if you just took Mario and popped him in FIFA. And I feel like that's something significantly lacking. For a game called Mario and Sonic, it sure feels like it's missing a lot of actual Mario and Sonic stuff, and it overall feels held back due to them really using this as nothing more than a vehicle to bring attention to the Olympic Games. The only thing that can come even remotely close to capturing this feeling are the Dream events, and there are only 4 of them. There's Dream Race, Dream Platform, Dream Fencing, and Dream Table Tennis. The Dream Fencing and Table Tennis are pretty much the same as their Olympic counterparts, with only a couple of variations. Dream Fencing plays the same as the original. Attack and deflect the opponent's attack, as well as feint attacks to try and trick your opponent into deflecting, leaving them open for damage. This time, however, instead of the normal Olympic points, there's a health bar, as well as special moves which you can use to launch your opponent off the stage in a pretty comical manner. Dream Table Tennis is the same as before, but arguably better here. Instead of getting 11 points, you need 50, but the system is different this time around. For each successful return, the points rewarded increases. So if you and your opponent knock it back and forth for a while, you're looking at a bunch of points when you actually get the ball past, or if your opponent messes up. And just like fencing, there's now special moves which you can use by pressing A and B when the ball is in your side, and it automatically returns the ball, meaning you don't need to be right next to it for it to work, and this can sometimes lead to intense back and forth with the opponent. I actually quite enjoyed this version of table tennis. It just felt much more interesting and way less tedious. Then we get the more unique Dream events. Dream Race is my personal favourite. It's like an odd mix of the 100 meter dash in Mario Kart. You get your speed up like before by moving the Wiimote and Nunchuck, but your speed sort of locks this time around and you move your character with the analog stick.
The fucking analog stick. 1-to-1 movement. Best game on the disc.
As you move through the dream race, you encounter some hurdles which you jump over like usual, with the B button, and some arrows in the floor which boost you to max speed, as well as those beautiful question blocks you find in Mario Kart, giving you a multitude of items at your disposal. Boo to slow other players, Sonic Shoes to boost, Power Star for invincibility, green shells and red shells. Lastly, there's Dream Platform, which is essentially a vertical race. You all start on a floating pirate ship which looks like the ship out of Super Mario 64, and you just jump and fall a long way down, passing item boxes and rings along the way. The rings give you a sequence of commands to input correctly, just like in the trampoline game, which can give you extra points and a boost of speed. The dream events are fun and feel much more appropriate for the characters you're playing with. They have more personality, much more befitting of Mario and Sonic. Not that this game was made to actually be a good Mario and Sonic game or anything. The game's visuals are about what you'd expect from a Wii party game that has questionable motives. The characters all look like themselves for the most part, but some textures are really blurry and low quality even for the Wii standards. Just look at Daisy's face, and I can't put my finger on just why, but Sonic just looks off for some reason. This was around the time when I thought Sonic graphics took a turn for the worse. It's like they didn't know what modern Sonic was supposed to look like. I like to call this the era of shiny Sonic. Games like Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog and other such games. The female characters have been slightly redesigned to give them much more appropriately athletic clothes, which I have no problems with. It would look quite silly after all, seeing Peach do the 100-meter dash in her dress. Although no more silly than watching Dr. Eggman do the trampoline, so apples and oranges really. The environments in the game are pretty simple. The typical Olympic track and field, some indoor areas such as the pool, table tennis and trampoline areas, and the Dream Event levels. The Dream Event environments are much more interesting to look at for obvious reasons, since they capitalise on the whole Mario thing rather than looking like Nintendo and Sega threw up all over a real Olympic stadium. The music in this game though, it's pretty sad. Again, why don't they make it sound like the Mario or Sonic games? Seriously, instead it sounds like this. It just sounds so bland and thoughtless, like it's not terrible, but just listen to it. It doesn't even sound appropriate for the Olympics. The only tune which sounds fitting for the Olympics is the main menu theme.
This was an exhausting experience for me, literally. Do I look like I'm in good shape? No, but seriously, it's an upsetting waste of potential.
What Mario and Sonic does is okay, but it doesn't change the fact that 8 years on, we still have no proper crossover game. Sure, they've been together in Smash Bros for a while now. Nintendo seems comfortable with continually making these Olympic titles whenever it's relevant. I don't know anybody who gets excited over these Mario and Sonic Olympic games. I mean, they're party games, so they're hardly Breath of the Wild. Overall, is it good? Well, as a party game, it's alright. You can certainly have some fun with it. Games like table tennis or skeet shooting are really tedious though, and I imagine with 4 players it would take forever to finish a circuit.
And there you have it, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Now, I know I'm a bit late to the Olympics, but I still want to do a video on this anyway because it's something I've been meaning to talk about for quite some time, and production on the other video is taking a bit longer than anticipated, but yeah. Nintendo, Sega, give us a game we truly deserve, a proper crossover. Anyway, I know there are more of these Olympic Games on the Wii, so if you'd like to see me cover those, leave a comment letting me know so. And you can even leave a comment telling me how my hair is stupid and inconsistent in every goddamn video. Trust me, I know, I live with it every day. But regardless, thank you for watching this video and I will see you next time.
Hey, thank you for watching yet another review. I do however find the possibility of anybody watching this far unlikely. Nevertheless, I have some shit to shamelessly plug, so feel free to stick around for that. First things first, I think you should go watch my recent caffeine break video, where I discuss the current ongoings and future plans for the channel, and I also give you guys a sneak peek at the new big video on the way. And if you don't fancy a vlog where I haven't slept in what felt like days and you'd seriously think I had downed a bottle of vodka before filming, why not check out my review of Excite Truck, yet another Wii game. You see the theme going on lately? And finally, a shout out to my patrons on Patreon for their kind pledges. Seriously, every little helps and I appreciate every one of you, and I would love to give you back more, so if anybody has any suggestions for pledge rewards and such, let me know. I'm planning to give my Patreon a bit of a facelift where rewards and the general look of it are concerned, because I want to show just how much I appreciate you guys, and not just my Patreons, but my audience as a whole. Thank you for supporting Unlikely Reviews. Just your views, likes and comments give me the motivation to keep on working and trying harder, so thank you. Anyway, this is dragging on a bit, so I'll let you go. Peace and thanks for watching.